the microphone has to come down a little bit. It sort of bums me out. Welcome everybody today, and I'd like to add my Mother's Day wishes for every mom out in the audience today. In particular, if I could ask your indulgence, I'd like to call out two in particular. My wife Tressa, who's up in the back, mother of our 3 children, and her sister, Lisa Nemchek, who's sitting right next to her. If I could beg you for just a quick round of applause for 2 of the most important mothers. And I convinced Lisa to become a student here at UConn, so she'll be getting an advanced degree here starting in the fall. So when I graduated from UConn in 1987, the most likely descriptions you hear about this school were sleepy, commuter school, and the dreaded safety school. Heck, the dorms didn't even serve meals on weekends. Given the quality of the food, no one really cared. In my junior year at UConn, we hired a new basketball coach, a man from Massachusetts you may remember, named Jim Calhoun. Whenever you want cheap applause, just mention Coach Calhoun. The problem with Coach Calhoun is it meant our pickup games on the basketball court came to an end. We used to make the team wait until we were done with our games before they could have their practices. As you can imagine, he wouldn't stand for that. In this facility, Gamble wasn't even on the drawing board. I think it was a dirt field. I don't think a building had been constructed on this campus since the GI Bill after World War II. And we all knew those weren't intended to be around very long. Look at this place we call home now. Just in the past 2 years, Bioscience Connecticut, Faculty 500, Next Generation Connecticut, all on top of 21st century UConn. And this is just the beginning. We have new leadership, we have new facilities, we have new faculty, we have an increasingly impressive student body. Let me repeat those words, increasingly impressive student body. I'm also guilty of gratuitous ass kissing in the hope of a great round of applause at the end, so don't forget me, guys. And of course, if you haven't seen it yet, the store's downtown center is finally open, so people might actually want to live in this area. Think of how much this place is evolving, and how much has changed in the 4 years since you first arrived. As the signs say on the site of the Basketball Development Center behind Gamble say, greatness is not an accident. By the way, while we're on the subject of athletics, with all the noise about conference realignment, I just want to point out something that's relevant. Over the past 4 years, while you were students here, UConn teams have played in a BCS bowl game, they've won 17 conference championships, and captured 3 national championships, all during your time here. I hope you were there to cheer them on. Our future at UConn is so bright. By the way, did you know that over half the schools in the ACC, 7 to be exact, have won a combined 0 national championships over the 4 years that you were here? Sometimes I think we forget just how good we have it. While I'm on the subject of student athletes, no event at Gamble would be complete without a t-shirt toss.
Oh, so cool. And yet he can't throw it. What?
I just hope you're not on the baseball team. And give those shirts to your mothers, for God's sake. This university is creating greatness throughout, academically, athletically, socially, in its facilities, in its alumni base, with you as our newest additions, in its role in Connecticut's economic base, and as a cornerstone of investment in the state's future. We are winning in the classroom, on the field, in the laboratory, in the concert halls and art studios, and yes, importantly, in the business world. I'll come back to UConn at the end, so don't forget where we left this topic. On behalf of everyone here today who is not about to graduate, I would like to welcome you to the real world. A world that is vastly different than the one I entered with my UConn diploma 25 years ago. Okay, it was a couple more, but we stopped counting. With the technology revolution that's occurred over the past 30 years, communication, access, and awareness has spawned a new world. I remember back when Al Gore invented the internet. He did, right? I thought to myself, this could be one of history's great moments of progress, up there with the printing press and the combustion engine. Technology allows us to know instantly what happens around the world, to see it, to debate it, and to act on it. We live in a world of constant, immediate change, a world without physical boundaries. The technology revolution has made it easier to find each other, to connect us, and to get the word out. By the way, when I was a student, when something went viral, we ended up at the infirmary. Technology has made the world truly global for the first time. Capital flows around the world in an instant. Economies around the world are integrated. It's difficult for the U.S. economy to grow. China is contracting. A growing middle class in emerging markets presents opportunities for manufacturing around the world. The real world has had to adapt, and it has embraced the technology revolution. The world you are entering has never been more fascinating, has never offered more opportunities for self-motivated people, and should be one you embrace. So I'm going to throw out a handful of thoughts on things to think about as you decide who you will be and what you will do in the real world. These 6 thoughts are completely random and in no particular order. 1, let luck play a role. Are you familiar with the sayings, it's better to be lucky than smart, or she was in the right place at the right time? If you aren't, I suggest you get familiar with them. All the talent in the world doesn't succeed without an element of serendipity. You can't really plan for it, but you need to be aware that it is out there and grab as much of it as you can. You can't manufacture luck, but you can put yourself in a position to find it when others aren't even looking for it. One way you can do that is to develop a deep network. Not just a network of people whose email addresses you have or who you met at a conference, but people who have gotten to know you and you've gotten to know them within or outside of your professional life. The best way to do this is look for opportunities to help people. Help them make a connection to someone you know. Take a meeting. However you can help someone, whether personal or professional. The deeper your network, the more likely you are to be in the right place at the right time with people trying to help you out. You want to be the one who seems to find all the good luck. I can assure you, it's not as random as you think. I think at UConn we should have our own saying. It's even better to be lucky and smart. Secondly, believe in something. One of the most amazing things to me in the business world is how many people out there just mail it in. In my mind, this happens because people don't always pursue something they really believe in. You've probably been told 1,000 times to follow your dreams. What if you really aren't the dreamer type? I offer an alternative. Follow something you believe in. Whatever it is, it can be a business plan, a profession, a group of people, something, anything. Apathy is one of the most destructive nouns in our vocabulary. If I give you just one piece of useful advice, it would be avoid apathy at all costs. Apathy saps us of our energy, of our creativity, of our will to win. Without those, we're just poorly performing machines. I'm reminded of a quote from a man who believed in something. Our Hall of Fame coach, Jim Calhoun. Coach said, the first step in being special is believing you're special. You can't do something special without believing it can happen. Of course, I'm also reminded of the great W.C. Fields who said, it's important to believe in something. I believe I'll have another drink. Maybe that's not part of the recipe for success. 3, enjoy what you do. You can find satisfaction in many different ways, in many different vocations. You can bring creativity to the production floor. You can bring technology to fine arts. You can commercialize a great idea. Just make sure you enjoy the path you're on and it means something to you. If you don't, find yourself a different path. Every day won't always be a walk in the park, but if you enjoy what you do, that alone can get you through the times when you lose confidence in what you're doing. 4, don't settle. Settling is my least favorite word. Settling to me means making a bad decision when you know it's a bad decision. There's a big difference between accepting failure and settling. Settling is capitulation without the benefit of lessons learned. Accepting failure is paradoxically one of the critical ingredients of success. Please don't ever settle. 5, the clock is running. Don't waste time. I think this is certainly obvious to parents. Seems like just yesterday you were changing their diapers and teaching them how to ride a bike. Now look at them. Before you know it, the roles will be reversed and they'll be changing your diapers. So be nice. You have your whole lives ahead of you. This is an exciting time, but it does go by quickly, so make sure every day has meaning. There are times when it makes sense to wait in line, and there are times when it makes sense to find a different line. 6, look ahead, but don't plan too much. Picture a quarterback stepping up to the line of scrimmage. They always have a play called. But the great ones survey the situation and aren't afraid to call an audible and go a totally different direction. In order for an audible to work, trust has to be established and people have to be willing to fail. Some of life's great successes will come on audibles. Be willing to take the risk when it makes sense. As the great boxer Mike Tyson once said, amazingly a Mike Tyson quote, everyone has a plan until they get hit in the face. Instinct is one of the greatest assets in the world. Be sure to use yours. 7, and lastly, do more than the minimum. I think this advice is pretty obvious, but it is often overlooked. The minimum is where mediocrity lies. Surprise people by delivering more than what is expected. That is the mark of a successful person. Expectations are not always explicit. You have to figure it out for yourself most times. If you deliver more than what you think is expected, you will find success. Maybe even some of that luck I mentioned earlier. I'm not sure if you were keeping track, but I actually said I had 6 pieces of advice for you today, and I actually gave you 7. See, I delivered more than the minimum. Consider that my little graduation gift to you, for those who didn't get t-shirts. Just to wrap up, don't let other people define you. Make sure you're the ones who do the defining. Find a few words that you want to define you. For me, it's overachiever, self-made, and importantly, generous. Make sure what you do every day is consistent with how you define yourself. Now let's come back to UConn before I get out of your way this morning. When you got here 4 years ago, you're probably about 18 years old, intimidated, didn't know where anything was. Now what? Confident, informed, educated, and ready to take on the world. Hopefully UConn played a role in getting you where you are. I want UConn to be a permanent and never-ending part of your life. You are a Husky forever, and your work here is never done. I promise you this university's best days lie ahead, but it does so only with the commitment of our alumni base, which you'll be joining in a few minutes, assuming you've paid all your parking tickets and library fines. Don't wait to come back. Don't wait to get involved. Support our teams, but please do more than that. Remain connected to the School of Business, to your friends, your classmates, and your professors, now that you can talk back. Where you went to school and who you married are 2 of the most indelible marks on your life. And I promise UConn will never nag you to take out the garbage. Sorry, Tracy. Please join me in making UConn important to you for the rest of your life. Alumni support, both financial and otherwise, are the key to any great university. Please remember what this school did for you and help UConn do it for others. You've made some great choices to get to where you are today, I would like to congratulate each and every one of you on your success thus far in your lives and wish you nothing but the best in your adult lives. I know greatness will come out of this class, and I look forward to watching you work your magic. I'll leave you with just 2 quotes that sum it all up. It's what you do when people aren't looking that defines who you are. And I quote our legendary coach one more time, better your best. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dan. And I should note that his exhortations to stay in touch with UConn and to take advantage of your relationships and your alma mater extend to his life in a very important way. Our student speaker today, Daniel, will be joining Dan at Morgan Stanley as his career begins this summer. So it's a very So the candidates for degrees will now be presented.